Morning guys, welcome to our koala encounter. My name is Paul. Poppy and Ruby are really high up in a little shelter that we've made for them. But Nyla is in a really nice position, so I think we'll be able to see her. We want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing to encourage her down to jump on a set of scales so we can get a weight on her without actually having to manhandle her or anything like that. Now, you may have seen places that actually pick up their koalas. If you had that expectation, we don't do that here at Werribee Zoo. In fact, in Victoria, it's against the law for us to be picking up our koalas, and there's a very good reason for that. They need to sleep. You might have seen the sign over there. They need to sleep for 20 hours in a day in order primarily to digest their food. And if we keep picking them up, they don't get the sleep and the rest that they need, which is when the digestion happens. We'll talk a little bit more about food and digestion as we go through. We're going to be watching Nyla too, and if she shows signs of stress, we're going to pull back. We're not going to get too close, but we may offer her a little bit of food if she's interested. All right, come on through. Pretty much in terms of what koala, they think they're not really any subspecies. It's the same species, but certainly the further north you go, there's an appearance that they're slightly smaller. They don't have as much fur because it's much hotter, and so the further south you come, right down into Tassie, you get really thick coats. Essentially, koalas, they said they sleep for about 20 hours in a day, but they wake up for maybe 15 minutes at a time, feed, and then go back to sleep. And it's that digestion that has to take place. It's so important. Koalas' teeth are quite interesting. They've got very big incisor teeth at the front for nipping off the ends of the branches, as you can see there, or the leaves, those soft leaves. And then they've got no canines. So carnivores have canines for gripping, for holding, for killing. Koalas don't need those sorts of teeth, so there's nothing in the middle here, but their molars at the back are very prominent as well. They chew those gum leaves into a really fine paste. During the bushfires, our keepers were making up paste. We were blending these leaf tips into a paste that could be sent off to the hot areas and basically look after those koalas that needed feeding. In terms of how they digest that food, so they've chewed it up, they have to have special gut flora, so bacteria in the stomach that help to digest that food. Now, koalas, the gestation period is around about a month, and when they're born, they'll live in the pouch for 7 months at least to begin with, and at about that point, they'll go even 11 months in the pouch. They take a good year for weaning. They'll sometimes climb out and go on mum's back. So from about 7 months of age, young koalas start feeding, and then, as I said, about a year, they're weaned, they move off by themselves. So they are solitary species. You'll get males in a territory, perhaps with 2 or 3 females that he will have in his sort of harem, if you like, in the greater territory. But they do spend most of the time on their own in trees. You don't often see them together in groups unless it's young ones with mum. They do call. Males have a big sort of guttural, grunty call, and it's quite a fearful sound if you've never heard it before for some people. And they have a big gland on his chest. He has a big scent gland that he uses to mark territory, and that is how he will establish territory and then basically have his females. Each koala has a very specific nose pattern. The pigmentation is different, so you can take a photograph and you can identify the koala. The pigmentation up inside the nose. Koalas are very friendly animals. They are relatives, or the closest relative to a koala is a wombat. One of the similarities they have is that wombats have these very hard, bony pads on their rump. And the purpose for that in the case of a wombat is to lock up its burrow. It can rotate its rump when it's down its hole and prevent dingoes or dogs getting down and taking the babies. They've got quite a cartilaginous rump that allows them to have their own specialised cushion so that they don't get numb backsides when they're sitting up in a tree all day like that. So they can jump about 2 meters, normally not upwards, but they can jump a good 2 meters across, so they can move from tree to tree that way. So we like to have branches that are nice and have grip on them. But I've actually come along here and I've actually cut a few little grips on this branch here just to help it, because it's an old branch, it's gotten slippery. So we've come with a saw and we've given her those grips, and her nails hook into there very nicely and she can climb easily up that. In terms of their feet as well, they have what are called syndactyl toes on their bottom feet. I'm talking now the front feet are individual toes with claws. But you can see the big toe with no claw, the syndactyl one just there, and the individual ones after that. The other thing you'll notice, he's got a white chest, and if it's very hot, they'll expose that white chest to the sun to reflect the heat. If it's very cold, they'll hunch over. We're just talking about the males, when it's, or all of them, should I say, when it's really hot, they expose that white chest to the sun to reflect the heat. Whilst they can sort of self-regulate, we certainly want to give them a comfortable place to live. With our other two koalas, we've built a sort of shelter recently. We've got these big roofs. The rain can come in at angles. They can feel a little bit exposed. We want to give them, like she's sitting in a bit of cover up there. We want to give them a place, as if it were in the wild. They'd get into a thicket of trees, they'd go and hide, they'd find themselves a comfortable spot. With regards to the other work that we do as zookeepers, we want to know the weights of our animals. We want to do that for their own good. We want to do it as unobtrusively as possible. So we have a philosophy with regards to our zookeeping at Zoos Victoria, which is what we call a most positive, least intrusive approach to our animal keeping. We want to get the most out of the animals, but we don't want to intrude on their personal space, that kind of thing. So we want to give them the freedom to do that, partake in their own health care. Today, what we've done earlier this morning when we come in and cleaned, we just brought this set of scales. That is a naturalistic branch. We can coax her in here with a little bit of browse. Certainly when she's hungry first up in the morning, sometimes it's a good time to do it. This is in here for conditioning purposes, to get her comfortable with the fact that this thing is in here. I always say we have so many senses and we don't use them all, but coming on these sorts of encounters gives you the ability to use more of your senses. While we don't let you touch them, you can see them up close, you can smell them, you can hear them sometimes, there's all kinds of different reasons for coming on these close-up and personal encounters. And all the proceeds go to conservation. Very good conservation programs that you guys support by being Zoo members. All right guys, well that brings us to the end of our virtual koala tour. Thank you very much for joining us. We'd really encourage you to come on The Real Deal when you get back, when we're all allowed to move again. People come on these tours, help us with our fighting extinction. Very, very valuable. I hope that you've been able to appreciate some of the husbandry that we do, some of the concepts that we talk about regarding our training, our animal welfare. Of course, we're very big on that here at Zoos Victoria, and we want you to appreciate that and appreciate that our animals are better off for it. That's pretty much wraps it up. Really looking forward to seeing you guys again, and thanks so much for joining us.